No. Flash it only, flash it only, flash it only. Dano, Dano, Dano. What are you still doing here? I answered the question. You want more information. Typical. Needy sons of bitch! So the reason I'm even bringing up the topic of squatting and deadlifting in the same workout is because the Candito program that I'm messing with right now.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
Basically speaking, I had the idea to release a Candito 6-week program video series where I release one video per week for 6 weeks with a topic pertaining to the program itself, because I thought that'd be a fun thing to do and entertain for you guys and might just lift your spirits during this 2020 time period. But 2020 was like, fuck your spirits, and release some more bullshit upon us, and never in my goddamn life has producing fitness content felt more irrelevant or unimportant. And I went into a mild existential crisis, having only made one of the 6 videos, but I didn't just not want to release that one of 6 videos, but I kind of needed some explanation where the other 5 videos were. And basically speaking, I'm sorry for taking so goddamn long making this video, and the other 5 videos are not coming. I should be on a more regular release schedule from here on out. Okay, thanks, unpause.
Has something in it that I think is kind of unique to the program itself. Because the program is very simply laid out into upper days and lower days, that means you have to get all of your upper body exercises in on one day, and you have to get all of your lower body exercises in on one day, which means you're doing both the squat and the deadlift, the competition variations, on the same exact day. And for whatever reason, this tends to freak people out.
It's just too much, Johnny. The human spine was not designed for such torque forces as the squat and the deadlift in the same day. Not to mention my CNS, it's gonna burn, and I'm gonna die.
Unfortunately, I think we've developed this cultural fear of certain movement patterns, i.e. if you asked a normal person what they thought the most dangerous movement in the gym was, they'd most likely say deadlift, and for the few of them that wouldn't say deadlift, they'd probably say a squat. But if we take these same exact movement patterns, we take them outside of the gym, and we get rid of any load involved, people are completely normal with them, because squatting is just your basic sitting pattern. You need a basic squat to be able to sit down into a chair and sit up out of a chair. It's what a lot of physical therapy is for older adults that cannot sit down or get up out of a chair properly. They're basically learning how to squat. Same thing when we think about the deadlift movement pattern. If you think about bending down to reach for an unloaded object like a piece of paper or a pen, no one's gonna bat an eye at you reaching down, bending over, and hinging at your hips to pick up that object. In fact, you could even round back deadlift that object up off the floor, and still no one's gonna be worried about you injuring yourself. No one's gonna be worried about you losing one of your discs in the process. And there's not gonna be a coach standing there yelling cues at you. Oh no, I dropped my pen. Chest up, chest up, chest up. Lats, lats. You call that a brace? Did I teach you nothing? And that's very simply because the movement patterns aren't dangerous themselves. These are natural movement patterns that a healthy human being, barring any sort of, pre-existing medical conditions that would exclude someone from being able to do these movements, any human being should be able to do these movements and do them without any risk of injury. The real reason, or I'll say the main reason, barring freak accidents, that a barbell deadlift or a barbell squat becomes dangerous is not the movement pattern itself. A deadlift itself, inherent of itself, is not dangerous. It's more so the fact that we have this super effective piece of equipment, the barbell. The barbell is so efficient in its job of allowing us to load weight that unfortunately an untrained adult can walk into the gym, load up more weight than their body is capable of handling. It's a new stimulus that they have not been exposed to before. They have not trained up to this point. And now they're able to get under that bar or to pull on that bar and pull on a new stimulus that their body has not seen before. This is more so where the injury risks of these movements comes from. It's improper load management and putting a new stimulus on a person that they've never been exposed to too quickly. So instead of thinking deadlifts are dangerous and squats are dangerous, you more so want to think improper load management of these movements is dangerous. Cool thing is, once we realize it's load management we should be paying to instead of demonizing these exercises, we also know that we're in control of the load, which means we're in control of our own safety. If you gradually introduce someone to the new stimulus of deadlifting, of squatting, you can gradually introduce them to higher and higher volume, higher and higher frequency, intensity, and even the ability to squat and deadlift in the same exact day. As long as this is all done gradually and you're not overreaching on the amount of load you're putting on the bar or the intensity you're going to each day, your body will adapt to this. And this is, your basic principles to adapting to any new stimulus. So yes, you can very easily squat and deadlift in the same workout without any fear of injury and without producing too much stress or too much fatigue on your system. All that being said, would I recommend squatting and deadlifting in the same day? Probably not. And like I said, this isn't because I'm worried you're gonna get injured. It's more so just from a practical standpoint. I believe for most programming, you can design it to the point where you don't have to squat and deadlift on the same day, or at least competition squat and deadlift on the same day. For those under a time crunch though, and they've only got a certain amount of time or a certain amount of days in the week to train, this might be a good option for you. Squatting and deadlifting in the same session can save a lot of time. Going straight from a squat into a deadlift saves you on warm-up time because you're basically already warmed up from those squats. You don't have to do too much to warm up into your deadlift. But if you don't have to, you don't have to. And having that extra space in between a squat session and a deadlift session can be mentally good for you. And obviously you're getting a little bit of recovery in between. Now, I have been specifically talking about a comp squat and a comp deadlift. What I mean by that, I'm talking your normal squat and your normal deadlift, belted up, geared up as you see fit. However, I do still squat and deadlift on a daily basis when I'm programming for myself. For example, a normal day for me after my competition squat session would look like competition deadlift, competition strict press, some sort of overhead press, and then a squat variation. So again, I am squatting and deadlifting in the same day. The difference is that squat variation is going to be something that forces load off of the bar. So again, we're talking load management here to overall manage our stress and make sure we're not getting injured or putting ourselves into too intense of a situation. Things I like to do are usually pause variations or tempo variations just to force weight off the bar. But I am still squatting and deadlifting in the same session. It's something that's very common in a lot of programmings nowadays. Candito's 6-week program is different in the fact that it is the intense comp squat day and the intense comp deadlift day all wrapped up into one. The way he ends up managing it with the program is the deadlift volume is actually rather low. It's usually only 2 or 3 intense sets, whereas the squats are usually up towards 4 intense sets or more, which as a strongman I'm not crazy about. I'd rather be very specific to my deadlift, but for a powerlifting program it definitely works. He's basically using the squat to drive up progress for the deadlift, and it works. Like I always like to tell you guys, there's 1,001 ways to program things. There's a lot of ways to get things done. But yeah, squatting and deadlifting in the same day, totally fine. It's gonna be fine for your training. You're not gonna get injured, overly fatigued, fry your CNS, all that bullshit. This is basically the same spiel I give to new clients to our gym who do come in with a fear of deadlifting or fear of squatting. It's not the movements themselves that are going to hurt you. It's improperly loading these movements and improperly progressing yourself in these movements that is more dangerous. You have a coach like us lying around, you're basically at zero risk for anything aside from freak accidents. And that's basically the whole principle I wanted to teach you guys behind this video. As long as you gradually introduce yourself to a new stimuli, the amount of stuff you are able to adapt to, the amount of stuff you're able to train your body to do is rather ridiculous as long as you give it enough time and that proper stimulus. That'll be it for this one, gang. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for watching the video. Hope to see y'all in some future content. Catch y'all next time.